Hey guys, Lunar Spiral 1127 here. Well, it's December 21st, 2012. Everything is fine here in Canada, so, yeah. No apocalypse. Second of all, this week, Batum, the anime, has finally released its final episode, and overall, this series was actually really good. In fact, I would say this was actually one of the best, animes that have came out this fall. Although I was expecting a bit more in the ending. I don't know. I guess because it left us hanging of what was going on. I mean, why was Tyrannos Japan doing all this? Will Sakamoto and Himiko escape the island? And poor Tyra. After what happened to him, it's such a shame. But aside from that, overall, it was a great anime, and I guess I'd have to continue reading the manga if it's still ongoing, and if not, I'm actually hoping for a season 2. Fingers crossed, alright? Now, with that being out of the way, Fairy Tail chapter 312, and I gotta say, this was actually a pretty good chapter. We start off with the three-way battle between Fairy Tail's Erza, Mermaid Heel's Kagura, and Sabretooth's Minerva. Honestly, this chapter was actually pretty decent. Not only that, near the end of the chapter, we get the reveal of who the mysterious hooded figure is. And to be honest, it's not much of a surprise considering this involves with time travel, but I will say this. It is not the princess. It is not someone from Edalus. And it's not Lucy's mom. Who it is, I'll reveal that later. But first off, Fairy Tail chapter 312, Threesomes. So the chapter begins with, of course, back in the Grand Magic Games, Erza versus Minerva versus Kagura. Now, before they start beginning to fight, we get to see Rufus, and according to him, he managed to memorize the strength of both Erza and Kagura. However, he believes that Minerva is going to win because she is incredibly strong. And we see how strong she really is once we get later on in this chapter. So the three finally clash. And they begin to fight. I gotta admit, seeing this fight in the manga was actually pretty cool. I mean, everybody is just fighting against each other. I mean, Erza is targeting both Kagura and Minerva. She's not targeting a specific person. She's targeting both of them, as well as the others, Kagura and Minerva. Now, during the fight, Erza managed to kick Kagura in the face, and she manages to fall into the ground out of the bridge. But, while that was going on, but then Minerva goes up in front of her and tries to blast her away with one of those magic bubble-like things. I'm not really sure what kind of magic she does. All I remember is that she does some sort of heat magic, but that's all I know so far. But that didn't affect Kagura because she does attack Minerva, and then Erza attacks Kagura. So it's basically going on like Minerva attacks Erza. Erza attacks Kagura. Kagura attacks Minerva. Minerva attacks Erza. Erza attacks Minerva. Kagura attacks Erza. Like that sort of thing that's going on in this chapter. And once again, I gotta admit, I'm really loving this fight so far. As long as Hiro doesn't fuck this up, like some sort of bullshit conclusion near the end of the fight, then I will say that this would be one of the best fights to happen in the final day of the Grand Magic Games. Now, we actually get to see a little bit more of Minerva's magic. What she does when she was taken down by Kagura, she does this, and then she starts chanting in this weird-looking language. I don't know what kind of language it is. It's called Iragdo. That's what she did, and then she encased both Kagura and Erza in these bubbles, and then she starts chanting this magic called Nikwelgmyon Teres El Cantias. Forgive me if I'm not saying it right, but I don't know what kind of language it is. I mean, it sounds like Latin, but it could be a different language. I'm not really sure. But according to Mavis, apparently Minerva's magic is called Yakuma's Spell of the 18 Combat Gods. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's some really, really powerful magic right there. And while she encased both Erza and Kagura in these bubbles. She uses a technique called Yagdo Rigora, which basically summons this weird looking titan or god, I don't know what the hell it is, and then all of a sudden this huge pillar of energy is released in the middle of the town, of the middle of the Fiore. I think it, yeah, in the middle of the town, a massive explosion occurs. In fact, it was so intense that the mages that were participating in the tournament stopped what they were doing. Now, of course, it looked like that Minerva was going to win, but who am I kidding? When you got one of the main female characters in this series, they're not going to be taken down that easily. Erza and Kagra are okay, except the fact that they're covered in bruises, and Erza's clothes are nearly ripped up. Yay, fan service. And Kagra's also okay, but at least she still has her clothes intact. And apparently Minerva wasn't even going all out. She was just toying with them. She wasn't even fighting at full strength. So she decides to make things interesting. And by interesting, I mean act like a true villain. Because, I mean, come on. Minerva has the potential to become a really good villain, if you ask me. Somehow, she manages to capture Miliana from Mermaid Heel in one of the weird magic bubbles. And according to her, the magic bubbles is absorbing Miliana's magic. And I guess if she continues to do that, she might die. I'm not really sure. But all I know is that she captured her hostage just to piss off Kagra and Erza. You know, Miliana being Erza's childhood friend and being Kagra's guild member in Mermaid Heel. And of course they're pissed off. So it looks like things are going to get really interesting. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever you want to take it, we have to cut back to the Fiore Palace. Princess Hisui is talking to Darton again. Since Darton has learned about the truth of Eclipse 2, he thinks that it would be best to cancel the Grand Magic Games and to get the citizens to safety. But Princess Hisui has other things in mind. She wants to continue with the Grand Magic Games because, according to her, the mysterious hooded woman has predicted who is going to win in the Grand Magic Games. And Hisui wants the Grand Magic Games to continue because she wants to see if what the hooded girl says is true. If it's true, that means that Hisui will go along with the Eclipse plan, because she also has doubts of what the hooded figure has said to her. Of course, Darton was against this because he thought that the princess was risking the future of the future of Fiore because of the results of some mere tournament. But he reluctantly lets the tournament continue, I believe. Hopefully can trust the hooded woman and will open the Stargate. I mean Eclipse Gate. Sorry. Why do I keep saying it's the Stargate? So then, also we actually learned that the hooded figure can predict the future. Because in the end of the chapter, Hisui says, the hooded figure is from the future. Ha! So it's true. It's someone from the future. That would actually make some sense in a way. Because when we cut back to the Pitfall Palace, we see the hooded figure, and she starts crying, and she says, I'm sorry, lend me your strength. And then she removes her hood to reveal none other than Lucy from the future. Dun, dun, dun! So, if anybody has predicted that it was someone from the future, good for you. For anyone who's predicted that it's Lucy from the future, good for you. Now, honestly, someone from the future, it was actually pretty obvious when you think about it, but learning that it was Lucy, honestly, I wasn't kind of expecting it, but I was expecting someone from the future. But then it would make sense because Lucy was there when Natsu was fighting against Rogan Sting, and you see the hooded figure crying. So that made sense. And it also made sense why Jalal was shocked to see who the mysterious figure is, because he knew that it was Lucy. So it definitely made sense. But so then if it was Lucy from the future, that means she already knew about the eclipse plan. So something must have happened during the future for making future Lucy to come to the past to try to fix things. I'm assuming it's Acnologia or Zareth, just causing massive destruction all across Fiore. That's what I'm kind of predicting. Now, hopefully, next week's chapter is called The Scenario of the Winner. That means we'll probably go back to the Grand Magic Games and see who has won in the three-way battle. Now, before I continue on, during the chapter, the future Lucy gave Princess Hisui another prediction, of what she saw in the future. She says that a guild will win in an outrageous fashion. An outcome so spectacular that no one in their wildest dreams could have predicted it. It's fairy tale, isn't it? I mean, seriously, in an outrageous fashion, it's either going to be, unless, and this is just me being hopeful, because, I mean, as much as I like fairy tale at times, but, I mean, they just came back from after 7 years, and they just entered a tournament, and, I was actually hoping that it would be Lamia scale. Why not? But, this is fairy tale, and, the only guild that could make things totally outrageous is fairy tale, so it's gonna be fairy tale that's gonna win, isn't it? It's fairy tale, isn't it? Unless another guild wins, causing some sort of time paradox to happen. Altering the future or something, I don't know. That would be pretty funny if that does happen. But yeah, considering who might win, it looks like the future Lucy is predicting that fairy tale is gonna win. Outrageous fashion, why not fairy tale? Yeah. So that was fairy tale chapter 312. Honestly, things have started getting really interesting. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens next. So this was actually a pretty good chapter. Good on ya, hero. That means we'll see the conclusion of the three-way battle between Erza, Kagra, and Minerva. From the looks of it looks like Kagra and Erza are going to team up against Minerva. And let's say that they do win and free Miliana. They'll probably face off against each other, Erza and Kagra. To be honest, I'm not really sure who might win, considering we've seen how powerful Minerva's magic is. But then again, this is fairy tale, so fairy tale might pull off some sort of trick up their sleeves, like always, and find a way to win. I mean, they always do that. I mean, remember Tenro Island? But, overall, this was a good chapter, and I'm actually hoping that we get to hear future Lucy's story. Like, what happened in the future? We know that we've seen, like, future Levy writing a letter to Lucy. Future Lucy, I'm assuming. So that means we probably get to learn what happened when either Acnologia or Zareth caused some sort of massive war in Fiore. Maybe we'll get to hear who has died in Fairy Tale. Who knows? But all I know is that I am looking forward to hearing future Lucy's story and to see who is going to win in the three-way battle at the Grand Magic Games. But considering the prediction, it looks like Fairy Tale might win. Oh well. So yeah, that's Fairy Tale chapter 312. I'm going to Spiral 1127, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.